For some unknown reason, I felt it right away. I felt, I think because I had great models, such as Mr. LaRosa and Lenny, and later Charlie Banakis. But at that time it was Lenny. I realized from the experience that you can make a living and have your life be about jazz and be a teacher and make that your life. And I saw Lenny do it. So it was obviously possible. And I think that made such an impression on me as a beautiful life that I just knew that's what I wanted to do. So I started at it when I was 16. And it was something that I felt comfortable. The reason I was so into teaching was because there were so many things I needed to learn. So the impetus to learning something is, I can't do this thing. I need to learn how to do it. And not being overly naturally talented, it took me a lot of work and study to learn how to do whatever it is that I wanted to do, and certain things are still elusive at the age of 58. So the process of learning was something I needed to go through in order to get anywhere. And so from that experience of learning and learning about process, that was what enabled me to teach. So the two things work together. In order to perform, you have to play at a certain level. So you need to learn the things that you need to learn to play at that level. And then if you do that, then you do have a path that you can show someone else that can also learn how to do it. So the intellectual and spiritual inquiry of learning to play and the desire to play and being willing to work on it, and then following through, having a great guide, that was clear to me that that works. And so when there's an area of playing that needs work, you know how to go about the process. So just being involved in music all day is just a tremendous opportunity and a tremendous blessing. You're learning every time you teach somebody, because some people might have a whole different take on it than you, and it might be equally valid. And it's there's something about the experience of teaching which is like a beautiful human experience. It's all teachers know this. It's the best of life. You're with another intelligent being who has similar interests, and you're focused on the things that you love. And so you're able to have this marvelous human relationship that you know is going to be just 45 minutes. And you're able to relate on profound levels, and it's a ball, and it's great. It's fun, and it's educational for everybody. It's a happy thing. Everybody's happy with it. And I couldn't be happier spending my life teaching this. It's just a marvelous experience. And it was a way that I could make a living, which is important, you know. You as the teacher are responsible for presenting the path. If the path that you are presenting works, then people will get it, and you will see that they get it. What differs among people is the rates at which they get it. So it's infallible. If you put certain elements into a beaker in a chemistry lab and put the right elements in the right degree, it's going to blow up. The same thing if you're teaching somebody to play and you're following a way that works, then they will get it and you'll see it right in front of you. And that's the fun of teaching. People learn at different rates, and people have different areas that they're naturally accelerate at, and other areas that might come more difficult to them. Again, you can't predict that. So some people, you know, are just tremendously talented, and you might be able to stimulate a lot of growth through just one lesson. And I think Lenny did that for me. And that was one of the things that got me interested in teaching, was the experience of going into a teacher and having some gnawing problem and walking out of that studio 45 minutes later and understanding how to overcome it. And Lenny had that where he could turn me around like that. And that was such a big light that went on. So that's what you're privileged to see on a regular basis as a teacher. You can turn that light on for somebody, and it's a ball. My students are usually people who are not doing music for a living, but have had a lifelong passion for music, and especially for jazz, and have always wanted to find an effective way that they can make progress with a teacher or on their own. And so generally, I don't particularly work with kids very much, so it's generally adults, but it goes everywhere from 20 to 80. It's people with a passion for the music. There are certain people that are called to play it, and that's just what they need to do with their lives, and that's who I'm working with. Right now, a typical day for me is starting out in Saudi Arabia, teaching a student there, then literally going to Cape Town, South Africa, and then going to Seattle, and then going to Belgium. And then later in the day, maybe it's somebody on the west side of Manhattan who doesn't feel like leaving their apartment. Yeah. And then maybe you go after that to Syria or any place. It's just absolutely homegrown. I just have a little camera that I got from Radio Shack for like $15 and a computer. And I have my piano across the room. I have a pair of wireless headphones, which is a really important part of the technology for this. So you can talk to somebody and then walk to the piano and demonstrate, and they can hear it. A couple of my students have cameras above the piano, and they can actually switch. So you can see their hands, and then they can switch and you can see them.